Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, when you talk about the markets, the Nifty did end higher for the third day in a row yesterday. However, it traded in a very narrow trading range of 100 point span and also could not sustain above the 22,400 mark towards the end of the session. As two of the biggest constituents of the Nifty in terms of weightage, HDFC Bank and Reliance Industries, both reported earnings and neither of them really played any part in taking the Nifty higher. Although it was the broader markets that were shining brighter, mid caps and the small caps, both the indices gained for the second day in a row. Both were up about 1% each as well. The big question is, where does the Nifty go forward from here, especially when we've seen a sharp downtick in India wicks as of yesterday. So that will be a key monitorable too. Very good morning to all our viewers and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are on Wednesday, which essentially means it's the monthly expiry of the Bank Nifty today, as also we are on T-1 as far as Nifty is concerned. So let's just look at the internal dynamics of the Nifty. Just let me upfront mention that it's most likely to be another quiet day for the Nifty as also for the Bank Nifty for a couple of reasons. If you look at the movement from Friday's low, we've moved somewhere like 580 points on the Nifty in the previous three sessions. As Sakshi mentions, all three of them ended in the gains. But yesterday, the index ended at its day's low, which is 22,368, although it was still up 31 points. So the index overall in the last three sessions has added something like 580 600 points, and they need to be digested. Therefore, today's move will mostly be in a sideways trading band. Although the trend is up, the overall sentiment on the Lal Street is fairly bullish. So flat trade on the Nifty, because we are on T-1 and this month in particular hasn't been good as far as the Nifty is concerned. On an overall basis, April's expiry has seen the Nifty slip 0.9%. So that's, somewhere like 200 points, 190 points down over the close of March's FNO expiry. Now let's drill in a little deeper. Yesterday's trading range was just 100 points, which essentially means that it's a narrowing and it's waiting for an event to happen as far as the up and the down trend is concerned. We've already had earnings from Reliance, HDFC Bank and Infosys. These are the three heaviest weighted counters. Therefore, the ability for the index to move higher in a sustained manner is a bit suspect. If you look at the option chain analysis, there is a huge resistance at 22,400. Fresh calls of about 67,000 puts have been, fresh calls of about 67,000 options have been added at about 22,400, and that's a huge resistance. But the good point is that at 22,300 there is a huge support as far as the Nifty is concerned, and a lot of short covering is still happening in the money calls. So the trend is bullish. Any dip towards 22,300, 22,250, 270, 280 needs to be purchased for the intraday move to happen. We'll, as always, wait for the first 15 days as far as 15 minutes as far as the first 15-minute candle is concerned, and then probably take a view. As far as the Bank Nifty is concerned, it's been another quiet expiry as far as Bank Nifty is concerned, up just 0.5%. That's somewhere like 250 points on a net basis. As far as April's expiry is concerned, maybe about 400 points. But today, most likely, it's going to be quiet. We've moved about 400 points from the day's low of Friday, and this amount needs to be digested. None of the major private banks within the Bank Nifty are doing any good. On a net basis, HDFC Bank is down 0.5%. That's the heaviest weighted counter. It's unable to move above its 200-day moving average, and the best performing stock is actually Bandhan Bank on an 1 month basis. So you can well imagine that there is no strength in terms of a sustained up move. My understanding is that we are going to have a flat move on the Bank Nifty as well. However, as Sakshi pointed out, the broader market is doing phenomenally well. I see rallies continuing in small caps and mid caps. We have 3 Nifty companies declaring earnings today: Hindustan Unilever, Axis Bank and L&T Mindtree, and 5 F&O stocks also declaring their fourth quarter earnings. Among them, 2 are something that I look at: Indian Hotels and Oracle Financial Services. So that's the broad thrust as far as the Nifty and the Bank Nifty is concerned. Flat trade on Bank Nifty, and any dip towards 22, 230, 270, 280 on the Nifty needs to be purchased on an intraday basis. Sakshi.
Okay, let's also look at how the global market setup is for the Indian markets today. So the US stocks closed higher on Tuesday following the positive earnings from top tier companies, as investors were focused on quarterly earnings from Magnificent Seven and the other mega cap growth stocks as well. It was the Nasdaq that inched higher by 1.6%, outpacing the others, 1.2% higher for S&P 500 and 0.7% gains coming in from the Dow Jones as well. As far as the Asian markets are concerned, Japan's Nikkei led the gains in the Asian markets, as in the entire region we did see gains coming across the board following Wall Street's continuing rally for the second straight day. So the Nikkei was up by 2.1%, followed by Kospi, that's up 1.8%, Hang Seng, that's up by 1.4%, and Shanghai, that's up by 0.1% higher in trade. Following this, we've also seen that the trends in the GIFT Nifty are indicating a positive start for the Indian markets, with a gain of 78 points for the Nifty, or a 0.35% uptick coming in. As far as the flows are concerned, remember yesterday FIS net sold shares worth about 3,044 crores, while domestic institutional investors bought about 2918 crore rupees worth of stocks as well. Apart from this, let's also look at some of the key stocks that you need to keep an eye out on in today's trade. Lupin will be the first one, and I'll be watching out for. The company has received an EIR from the US FDA for its Aurangabad manufacturing facility. Apart from this, I'm also looking at MCX. The company reported good set of earnings. EBITDA and profit have come in at multi-quarter high, and the company has also reported profit after reporting loss for 2 straight quarters as well. We've also seen that the stock was moving higher ahead of the earnings yesterday, and there could be some following up buying in today's trade too. Tata Consumer Products will be in focus after it's reported a 22.5% decline in the net profit to 268 crores and an 8.5% jump in revenue. EBITDA is up by 23% and margins are up by 189 basis points at 16.03%. So operationally, the numbers have come out positive for the company. ICICI Prudential has reported somewhat weak earnings when it comes to the value of new businesses. The net premium income, however, was up by about 17%, but the VNB margins came down sharply from 31.9% earlier to 21.5%, and the net profit also saw a decline of 25.9%. Tata Elxsi, again on a quarter-on-quarter basis, consolidated numbers show a slight dip on the revenue front of 0.9% and the net profit that slashed about 4.6% in trade. In the upcoming earnings, of course, HUL will be in focus. The company is expected to report subdued Q4 earnings as rural demand has remained muted, dragging the volume growth during the quarter. As far as LTI Mindtree is concerned, it's expected to have suffered a slight decline in revenue in the final quarter of FY24 due to extended furloughs and certain ramp downs as well. Apart from that, we'll be also looking at a whole host of other stocks coming in from the IT pack as well after the earnings. So of Wipro and of course HCL Tech will be in focus going forward from here to Shail.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at some other positives that are impacting Indian markets. All the red indicators that were anti-equity and flashing red, such as the dollar index in the US, the US 10-year yield in particular, all of them have calmed down, as also crude oil prices now somewhere like $85, $83 a barrel. That itself is a 7.5% decline from the recent high of $92.15 a barrel. Also, gold prices have muted. It essentially means that the risk on trade in equities is now on the long side, and all these parameters that we track to find out what the overall global sentiment is, whether risk on for equities or risk off for equities, are now calm, which essentially means that the ground level condition for equities to move up higher are far better as compared with what they were at least a week ago. And one point I'd also like to mention, we'll just show you the India VIX chart. This is the volatility index as far as the Indian futures and options market is concerned. It plunged about 20% yesterday. This is almost its all-time low, and this also is an indication that the fear that was there, at least in the Indian markets, about the probable escalation between Iran and Israel and the potential uptick in crude oil prices has died down. There seems to be some certainty creeping into the market after the first round of elections that have happened in India, that the present dispensation will remain in the seat as far as the central government is concerned, and therefore you see this sharp plunge in volatility. The other point I'd like to mention, which is a negative, is sustained foreign institutional selling. Sakshi mentioned the number of about the number was 3,445 crores. Remember, yesterday's number was also 2,619 crores. So put together, that's about 6,000 crores worth of net sales. And in the week previous to that, it was worth about 17,000 crores of net sales. So 17 plus 6 is about 25. That's a bit of a painful move coming in. Remember, this is happening before quarterly earnings are out. Sakshi.
Right. Keeping an eye out on some of the brokerage houses' reports as well. So after Tata Lexi's results, Morgan Stanley has come out with an underweight call with a target price at 68.60. They do believe that Q4 was a miss, but management has sounded constructive on the revenue growth in FY25. So that's the one that we'll be watching out for. Tata Consumer also on the radar of Morgan Stanley. Here they've given an overweight call with a target price of 13.05, and the organic top line growth as per them was slightly lower than the estimates due to weaker India beverages growth, and the company has delivered 16% EBITDA margin, highest in the last 14 quarters. So that's a bit of a positive as per the brokerage house. On MCX, Morgan Stanley has come out with an underweight call and a target price of 2,085. They do believe that Q4 PAT was missed estimates and the consensus sharply, and the operating revenue was also lower than the estimates as well. As far as Nestle is concerned, Citi has given a report with a buy call and a target price of 2,900. So those are some of the stocks that I'll be keeping an eye out on the back of brokerage houses reports as well. And time now to welcome our guest on the show. I think Gaurang Shah is with us, Senior Vice President, Geojit Financial Services. Very good morning to you, Gaurang. Good to have you with us back this week. So in the last week, a lot has changed in the markets from the time that we spoke to you. We've got big heavyweight earnings. We've got some fear that came in from the geopolitical front. It settled down later. How are you really looking at the market setup now, sir?
Thank you, Sakshi, and morning to you, my good friend Shail, and all the viewers of BTTV. So I think choppiness and volatility will be the order of the day as far as the geopolitical situation is concerned, because we don't know what is going to happen next. And that's the most unfortunate part of the entire situation. They are sensitive areas with respect to the energy supply to the global pipeline. And the fact of the matter is that nuclear capabilities cannot be ruled out as well. So that part will keep on bothering us until and until, Sakshi, there is a decisive truce, pipes of peace are smoked, and there is wisdom prevailing upon the missiles and the drones that they fire at each other. As far as the local events are concerned, I think first of all, elections going on, earnings season along with that, F&O expiry this week. This is going to keep us a little bit more busy rather than usual. And as Shail was referring about the VIX just before I stepped into the show, I think that is something also that we need to possibly watch out for. No dark spots or no red ticks as far as whatever earnings we have seen. Of course, we have not seen many. There are just a few. But let's hope that this is the order of the day and the shade and the color as we go deeper into the earnings season. 22,400 top heavy feeling is what we had given out our view on our weekly market outlook, 22,300 to 22,400, and on the lower side 22,200 to maybe 22,150. I think we are going to oscillate within this zone. I'm talking about Nifty spot. But since earnings are unfolding, Sakshi, I think we need to be a little bit more stock specific.
Yeah. Very good morning to you, Gaurang, and as always, it's such a warm pleasure to see you on Market today. Let's discuss your favorite part, which is the two-wheelers, as also four-wheelers. Record highs being seen on Maruti. It's changed a digit, 13,000 now, and there's no stopping Aisha, now somewhere like 4,500. Are markets overheated according to you as far as the auto sector is concerned? Or do you see some sensible buying happening as far as autos are concerned? What could be the reason behind these very sharp moves on these blue chips?
Some of them are fired up on octane, to be very frank, or jet fuel shell. And well, it's always a good feeling for two-wheeler enthusiasts like you, me, I possibly Sakshi also in this. But yeah, there is a sense of overeating, and I still recollect that day when Hero Harley and Bajaj Triumph 400, 440 cc bikes were launched. Poor Eicher Motors got knocked down from 34, 3500 to 3000, 3100. And the fact of the matter is, for my joyful feeling and our joyful feeling, that Eicher Motors is at 4500 plus today. So I think this exuberance need to settle down. If you ask me if you are invested at lower level, then I think you should just continue to hold on to your investments. There are brighter futures for the entire auto industry. I'm not only particularly signaling out two-wheeler or four-wheelers shell, but I would include two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, agri equipments, and commercial vehicle, EVs. I think that's going to be a huge opportunity as far as the government's push to make India, Bharat, a center of global supply. So you will have many more niche and marquee names coming into India and setting up shop as far as automobile manufacturing capabilities and capacities are. Along with that, Shell, you will also have OEMs coming and setting up shops. So that's going to be a plenty that's going to be happening. But in the near term, I do agree, two names that you mentioned, Eicher Motors and Maruti. I think they are a little bit heated up.
Okay, let's continue this auto space discussion a bit more. There are two confirmed two-wheeler enthusiasts in this discussion, and I'm sure over the last 1 year, Sakshi's also turned towards our side, listening to the rumble of a two-wheeler starting. Just about a week ago, Gaurang, there was a gentleman with us, and he mentioned that he's looking for the launch of an electric version of Bullet, and I told him point blank that I hope I never see that day ever in my life. I am a die-hard fan of the wonderful noise that the Bullet engine makes, and I hope I'm proved right that it's never launched. But 2 points I'd like to mention, ladies and gentlemen. Aisha may be at a record high, but at a 1 year basis, the stock is up just 40% compared with the 102% rise on Bajaj Auto and the 76% uptick in TVS Motors. So you must also try and understand that stocks move relative to each other also. 40% a year as far as a particular large blue chip stock is concerned is a huge uptick, but then you have to see it in relation to what other peers have done. Gaurang, coming back to you, anything within the corporate results setup so far that has caught your attention on the positive side?
So, not many big names we have heard, but two definitely there on our radar as far as the fundamental universe is concerned coverage. That is Reliance Industries and HDFC Bank. We have discussed HDFC Bank a number of times. We have reinforced our confidence and our faith in HDFC Bank despite of certain short to medium term drawbacks that the stock had to suffer, especially in the third quarter earnings. But now I think all that looks to be a thing of the past. So if you have to ask me two decisive names on the earnings front, which look more attractive now rather than earlier, are Reliance Industries and HDFC Bank. Two more names I would like to give in over here as Shell would be Bharti Airtel and Power Grid. Bharti Airtel also, I think, near its all-time high, if I'm not mistaken. In Power Grid, I think there is a news report overnight in terms of their expansion of business presence. So these are the other two names that we are excited about.
All right. Gaurang, also wanted to understand from you, since you mentioned Bharti Airtel, the entire telecom space also seems to be in the thick of action, of course, with the Vodafone Ideas FPO sailing through and getting substantial oversubscription of 7 times. Earlier, there was some kind of a doubt whether it will be able to garner a full subscription as well. And beyond that, we've also seen stunning moves coming in on Indus Towers, on Tejas Networks, with the kind of reports that have come in. Beyond this also, Himachal Futuristic, a lot of these spaces have been on an upward run. How are you looking at this entire buzz across the sector?
Sakshi, so I give a very honest disclosure since you mentioned about Voda Idea FPO. I was not a big diehard fan, and I've been very vocal about it. I'm sure you and Shail are aware about it, but I had to change my stance as far as the FPO is concerned and the pricing of 11 rupees. So, as a brokerage house, we had come out with an FPO note and given a subscribe to Voda Idea FPO at about 11 rupees, higher price back. And honestly, if you ask me, given the length, breadth of our country, the subscriber base, whether having a duopoly in a most important sector like cellular service provider, was it a viable situation? I strongly disagree with that. But at the same time, to have one more or two more competitors, we need to have companies with financial strength and background, because this is one sector, cellular service provider sector, which is highly capital oriented. You need to go on investing into technology platforms, upgrade, etc., and face competition at the same time. So it was a soothing feeling for me that we came out with a subscribe for FPO. Indus Tower, well, I am so glad to see this particular stock move from that 140, 160 range to currently, I think, about 340 or 360 levels, purely because of the improving backdrop of events. And my sense is that if Voda Idea has to sail through like this and garner more capital from the market, then there is a possibility of improving the balance sheet, which is currently heavily debt ridden. Staying positive. Bharti Hexacom also, incidentally, we had a subscribe to that particular IPO, Sakshi, and remain very optimistic about this cellular service provider sector.
Okay, got that. Apart from this, would you also share with us some of your top stock ideas? Maybe if you've done any additions during this earnings season and when the election season has come in?
Well, earnings has just been a curtain raiser, and my team is possibly burning the midnight oil, to be very honest with you. So actually, to come out with upgrades, if any, or new ideas, if any. But if I have to name one or two ideas, then again, keeping in line with what all of us are a diehard fan in terms of auto sector, Electra Green Tech is something that extremely excites us. This company has received huge orders as far as the state transport utility is concerned. Along with that, certain private players have placed a huge number of orders with Electra Green Tech. So that is one particular company that we are positive about. And yesterday we saw the entire real estate space buzzing up and beyond best performing sector or names. So over there, if I have to name one company, that would be Prestige Estates. So these would be the two additional names: Electra Green Tech and Prestige Estates.
Okay, those are two stocks that have already run up very sharply, but remember, we are in a trending bull market, and let's hope you see better prices on both Prestige as well as Electra Green. A point of note on Indus Towers, ladies and gentlemen, the PCR will draw a long-term chart for you. At the present price of 355 rupees or so, the counter is trading at its highest level since December 2017. There is a media report which says that Airtel, which is one of the shareholders of Indus Towers, is looking to buy out Vodafone Idea's 21% stake in the company at somewhere like 20,000 crore rupees. The market capitalization of Indus Towers is somewhere like 96,000 crores, and a 21% stake will be valued somewhere like 18,000 crore rupees. These are media reports because they've come and the stock will be in action today. That's why I point this out to you. Gaurang, carrying a conversation forward, autos of course is something that is your preferred bet. At this point of time, where is froth in the market?
So, froth, we discussed one, of course, that is autos. I think some pockets are a little bit richly valued. Possibly cement is the other one. Real estate sector, if you ask me, Shell, other than Prestige, I think Godrej Properties, Oberoi Realty, DLF. These are the three names on which we have in fact come out with book profits or reduce recommendations, since fundamentally the target price have been reached, attained a long time back, to be very honest. Certain pockets with respect to financials, they look a little bit stretched out, and maybe these hospitality names, though we heard yesterday one particular management talking about huge opportunity, not undeniably it is there, Shell, not only for leisure travel but even religious travel nowadays is a big theme for these hospitality names. But over there also, I think we need to just consolidate and cool off a little bit and let the earnings justify further upside. Liquidity flowing any particular sector or stock, like we have witnessed in mid cap, small cap, micro cap, is never something that is advisable.
Okay, Gaurang, one view on these battery makers. Exide up 50% in April alone, and erstwhile an old-time favorite Amara Raja is also trading at record highs, and this was a segment which was running up ahead of Mr. Elon Musk's planned visit, which somehow failed to materialize. How do you see this sharp uptick in prices of battery makers, and is there value still to be had?
So Amara Raja and Exide, we both on these names we have coverage. Exide and Amara Raja, I think they are more or less near our target price or have overshot that. Exide was in the limelight since the time we had that news flow about some JV between Exide, Kia, and Hyundai for the EV segment
Yes.
service providers. Amara Raja, I think this is one stock that people have got fed up, to be very honest. They had lost all their patience. And whenever a question was put forward in front of me about Amara Raja battery, I only said that, boss, stock markets do test your patience more than what you anticipate stock market would. And the fact of the matter is that if you had patience and stayed invested with Amara Raja at that time, look at where the stock is today, 1160 or thereabouts. Similar is the case with Exide Industry. The problem, Shell, is that these products, what they manufacture, they have a life of almost about 3 to 5 years, depending upon the utility of a vehicle, before a replacement comes in. I'm purely talking about the replacement market. And in that particular segment, you have organized competition also. For the new order market to come in, the automobile companies have to regularly revisit their launching strategy so that these battery manufacturing companies get new order market also. But having said that, I think it is a very core component or input, whether it is an ICE engine driven vehicle or whether it is an EV, batteries will always be required.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the pre-open rates upon us. It's a blowout. I wish this was so true. I think it's our lady luck who's about to join us, Vaishali, and of course Gaurang's presence that's showing such a wonderful uptick on the Nifty, a percent higher, 22,586. This will not hold, but let's enjoy it till it lasts. A 4.9% uptick on State Bank of India. How I wish this were true. 800 is what the pre-open rates are telling us, but let's focus on the three main ones. Reliance is trying to open 38 points lower, 28,280. How about HDFC Bank? 15 rupees higher, 1523. How about Infosys? 9 rupees lower, 1435. Which is the top performing stock in the 10 index heavyweights that Business Today tracks. State Bank of India 2.9% higher, 795.7. TCS 2% higher, 39.49. We have a strong move coming in ICICI Bank, 0.8% higher, 1099. How about earnings boy, Axis Bank? This is down almost 20 rupees, 1036. We let the Nifty settle a bit. Let's look at the most active counters that we have on the FNO space. There is a 3% downtick on Idea Cellular. Remember, it rose about 10% yesterday. These are opening quotes at 14 rupees. Let's look at stocks that are moving in the green. Very strong set of earnings coming in from Multi Commodity Exchange. Fresh record high, 9% higher, 4400. Bharti Airtel, absolutely no let up in gains, 5% higher, 1401. I want to see what Indus Stars is doing. I wish I could just see it immediately. Indus Stars is trying to open 1% higher, 363. A very quick look at what's happening in the NSE 500 space. Okay, 361. This is completely earnings based. Again, 20% higher, 919. There is no let up on Tejas Networks, 10% higher, 1190. What else is sticking? Aisha Motors, 2.8% higher, 4650. We let these prices settle. The Nifty is now just 100 points higher, 22,468. Ladies and gentlemen, this will also move a bit lower. We should see an uptick of about 20-25 points. We'll let that settle. We are also waiting for Vaishali Parekh to join us in a while. Let's converse with Gaurang. Gaurang, your view on the pre-open, slightly overheated?
Honestly, Shail, I take this pre-opens as an Hasya Kavi Sammelan, because there's not too much that I give credibility to be very honest with you. There are a lot of numbers and flying around. I would give more weightage to the actual opening of the market and then take a call. You see what happened. I mean, just now, just a few minutes back, the way it was telling you to 22,600 and it is right now at 22,450. So, I don't give much credibility to this. I take it with a pinch of salt and I have my morning laughter.
Okay. In the pre-open, we're also getting an indication of Purvankara opening up 5%. When you were talking about real estate stocks, Gaurang, I thought this is something which will be on your radar and not Prestige Estates, because this is opening a 2,000 crore rupees residential project near you, and where you are looking to buy that 1 lakh rupee per square feet apartment as and when it will be opening too. So I thought that this will be in focus, and of course macro tech developers, that's another one that's been flying away in the pre-opening trade as well. So where are you going to be buying a house next, and which is the real estate stock that you'll be buying next?
You actually choked me right now. I don't have my vocal cords clear to answer your question, to be very honest. But yeah, no, I mean, I am quite well settled. I have no desire for going and investing additional money in real estate. I think equity market gives you much better return, Sakshi, to be very honest with you. I hope Shail will agree with me, and I hope you would also agree with me. Having a property just because as an investment idea and then renting it out, you have headache of whether that person whom you rented it out, how good that character is, whether he'll pay properly, whether he'll vacate your, premises as and when you need it for any particular reason, etc., 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 etc. So I think, if you ask me, I'm well settled where I am, very happy with it. Not going to put any additional money into real estate as far as property investment is concerned. But if you ask me, I would definitely go ahead and buy some good index fund or some stock specific ideas if my company allows me as far as the compliance issues are concerned. But in terms of betting into sectorial bet, yes, I think once correction comes into effect in these names, at lower levels, I think all these companies have very strong balance sheet, whether it is Godrej Properties, whether it is Prestige, it is Oberoi Realty, DLF, all these companies are very strong in terms of performance, and I think they are going to perform for a pretty long period of time. And more importantly, Sakshi, discipline and sanity has come into this sector, which was otherwise the bad boy of the market and the most high beta sector.
Okay, point taken there, Gaurang. Let's also welcome our other guest on the show to join us now. Vaishali Parekh, Vice President Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar, is now with us. Vaishali, very good morning to you. Good to see you early in the morning. And do tell us, where do you see the markets headed and how do you see the pre-opening?
Very good morning, all of you. Yes, market shows some signs of happiness. We are seeing Gift Nifty up by 70 points. So I guess the next target that we would look at is 22,500. So that's what we will be aiming for.
A very warm welcome to you, Vaishali. And before you joined us, we were having this wonderful conversation. Sakshi and I are trying to convince Gaurang to buy this property in Pali Hill. The going rate is about 1 lakh square feet, 1 lakh rupee per square feet. And Gaurang, I assure you, I will be the model tenant that you will ever have in your life. I will pay on time, a little bit money only, but I will never bother you. And one thing is good, I will also vacate whenever you want, but you just buy it and lease it out to me.
Well, we'll work out together then, Shail.
Yes, absolutely. So, Vaishali, before you joined us again, I was mentioning that it's a very strong uptick on pre-open, and Our Lady Luck is about to join us. So, therefore, the market is celebrating her presence before she's on. But your two stock picks for today, what looks good on technical charts? The Nifty now just 55 points higher, 22,425, just as our pre-opening summary had mentioned. Yours, Vaishali.
So I like escorts. Actually, if you see overall, the auto sector is still doing well. So of course, I mean, Maruti, Tata Motors, they all have shown strength yesterday. So Maruti is one of the stocks and the other one is escorts. So let's start with escorts. I think this stock is looking for a target of 33 to 34.50. So I would say that yes, 3,000 acts as a good stop loss from here on, and look for a target of 3350 as the first target. And the other one that I like is also Maruti. So Maruti, we have seen that yes, in spite of all the choppiness, the trend is intact and it's breaching the previous high also. So yes, 13,500, 13,600 should be the next target, and 12,700 should be the support.
Okay, anything in the PSU segment that catches your fancy? Vaishali, over the last 2 or 3 sessions, PCS have again burst up on traders' radar on the green side. Anything that looks good to you?
So, well, I'm looking at PSU banking stocks because we saw Punjab National Bank, Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, they are all getting into the momentum. So I'll wait for some time. And of course, even SBI. So I'll wait for some time for perhaps a little bit of a dip to get into a new trade.
Vaishali, I'll come up with some stock ideas and you'd share with us what is your view. These stocks have been consistently on an upward run and we want to know, whether it's sane enough to buy these stocks at these levels. One is Tejas Networks. Again, it's a 2.5% uptick in trade today after that 36% move in the last 2 trading sessions. And the other one that I wanted to discuss with you is Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE. That was up 10% odd yesterday. It's up 1.5% today.
So Tejas Network to start with, well, we saw post the results, we saw a good gap up opening, and also I don't think new buying strategy is favorable right now because it's a perpendicular rise. If you see right from 800 to now where we are at 1120. So of course, to those who are holding, should continue holding because, well, there is still upside potential. For new buying, I would say wait for some retracement. Talking about BSC, well, we have our next projected target of 3450. So I guess 3,100 level should be ideal to get into the stock.
Got that. Gaurang, let me bring you in the conversation on Bombay Stock Exchange and on this entire capital markets related space that's been again on the buzz too. What is your sense of what's really pushing the stock higher, record high levels for this one? CAMS was on the move yesterday. CDSL has been on a move as well. 361 we are looking at today as well. A lot of wealth management firms, Nuvama, all of them have had their turn of entire buzz in this space. How would you approach this space?
Well, I'll also have commodities. Sakshi, you were referring to MCX earnings a while. So, if you have two views, one on the Indian equity market and other on the Indian commodity market, the number of participants increasing, and along with that, the kind of opportunity that lies with the government in place by June 5th, and then more implementations, more development, more progressive, more inclusive growth, etc., etc., then that's going to add a huge number of retail participants to both these segments, equities as well as commodities. And I was just talking last week with, I was having an interaction at once, interactive session at one particular event. And my view was that, you don't concentrate on top of the pyramid. You need to look at the middle and lower base of the pyramid if you want to have to cater to and get more client acquisition. That's where the interest and the wealth is. You only have to handhold them and guide them towards financial literacy and wealth creation. So, and my view is extremely, today we are somewhere at what, 15 crores DP accounts. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, you will be surprised to see that number going to the next level. And that's going to be including in direct equity, mutual fund, lump sum investment, SIPs, and commodities. So each and every company which is associated with these two, entities, whether it is a service provider, whether it is a platform provider, or whether it is something called a depository service provider, I think all of them are going to do well. The only thing is you need to do a little bit of homework and then possibly take a call as to buying or not buying and staying invested for a long period of time.
Okay, let's again look at pre-open rates. They will give you some idea about how markets are likely to pan out. Idea Cellular 4.5% lower, 1375. Remember, this is been the stock which has been in the eye of the storm. MCX is now sort of booking out some profit in early trades. 3% lower, 3900. Tata Consumer, terrible results, and the market's punishing them. 5.7% lower, 1106. We'll do a slight detour into what the PSUs are doing. Remember, they were in the thick of trade all of last two sessions. Strong moves coming on Garden Reach, Cochin Shipbuilders, and Midhani. You have the railway pack doing pretty well. Let's get Vaishali into the conversation. Vaishali, anything within the railway segment that catches your fancy on the long side or the short side? What do you prefer?
In fact, overall, a full pack of rail stocks yesterday, we saw good strength. And the overall trend also is looking very promising. So there are quite a few stocks which are to my liking. One is Tex Maco Rail. We have seen it's at 172. So after a good consolidation at 160 levels, 165 levels, we are seeing some strength in this stock. So Tex Maco Rail makes a favorable risk reward also. So with 163 as stop loss, in all likelihood, this stock can go towards 200 levels. So this is one stock that I do like. In the front line, of course, we have IRCTC. So IRCTC also yesterday showed good strength. We are waiting for furthermore confirmation. It would be a trading strategy up to 1050. But once we see the stock moving above 1050, we are ready for the next projected target of 1100. So yes, these are all the stocks that are quite to my liking right now. In fact, talking about PSU, I would not put out...
Another stock that I'll mark is...
Yes.
Yeah, please continue, Vaishali. Please continue.
I missed out on recommending even IEX. Even IEX, if you see, surprisingly, I mean, after such a long time, it is showing some strength. I guess this could be a dark horse. I mean, well, trading strategy, we would look for 163, 165, and let's see from there on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the opening rates right there in front of us. And it's a muted opening as far as the Nifty is concerned, 37 points higher. Remember, this is the fourth day of gains. We are on T-1 as far as the monthly expiry is concerned, 22,412 for you. Okay, let's look at the index heavyweights, and HDFC Bank is opening 5 rupees higher, 1513. Reliance is at the moment at 2931. good 13 points higher, and Infosys is down 4 rupees 1437. These are the three super index heavyweights within the index. 2 out of 3 are in the green. Okay, which is the top performer in terms of percentage rise? It's the earnings boy Axis Bank. Fourth quarter expected today, 7 rupees higher, 1062. Tata Motors continues its uptick, 6 rupees higher, 992. You have TCS 0.5% higher. What is losing ground? Kotak Bank and ITC, nothing to be worried about. Nifty is 51 points higher, 22,418. 141 points higher on the Nifty Bank, and a third of a percent higher on Nifty 500. We'll very quickly do a detour on FNO. Okay, Idea Cellular 3.5% lower, 1390. MCX is the earnings boy, 4% lower, 3840. These are the two top traded counters as well in terms of volume. What else is catching my interest? Nothing much here. Which is the top gainer? Okay, Cummins India 1.2% higher, 3196. Nothing much here. We'll very quickly do a check on NSE 500. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, earnings boys, 361 Wealth Management, about 9%, 10% higher, 844. You have Cochin Shipyard 5% higher, 1319. You have a very strong move coming in Amara Raja Batteries, 3% higher, 1192. Coming to you immediately, Vaishali, anything that catches your fancy as far as the initial markets are concerned? 22,412 on the Nifty.
Well, I think it's once again the fertilizer stocks, I mean, as a safe bet, UPL and Chambal Fertilizers to my liking right now.
Okay, Gaurang, anything that catches your fancy? How do you see the market opening? Flat on the Nifty as also on the main indices. As far as the advanced decline is concerned, about 1620 shares in the green, 220 in the red. The top performing index is the Nifty Realty Index.
So this is really an irony, isn't it? What the pre-open was telling us and what the actual opening is, and this is what exactly I was referring to, Shail. And honestly, if you ask me, I think before June 4th, I would love to see market retrace and correct and settle down a little bit, so that we have some euphoria, some joy, some excitement post we have the outcome of election. I think if we rally now, then post is going to be something like a soda bottle getting opened up. Initially, you will have a lot of fizz, but within seconds, it is all going to fizzle out.
Okay. Some more stocks were Shali for you. Scient DLM, that's sticking higher, 12% higher. This is following the earnings. How would you really look at this one? And 361, double-digit gains for this one too. How would you really look at these two?
So I would say yes, Scient is technically a very good, strong, good uptrend, and right now after a brief consolidation, right from 2450 to 1900 levels, I mean, I think it is a favorable buy at these levels because it's also close to the 200-day moving average. I think once it sees a takeoff, it can retest 2200 and so on.
Okay, and what about 361?
I said it can retest 2200 levels again, and perhaps, yes.
Okay, fair enough. MCX is ticking lower. There's been a large trade of the value of about 64 crores, 3.8% lower at 3874 right now. Tata Group stocks are in focus. Both Tata Elxsi and Tata Consumer are lower as well following the earnings, 3.5%, 4.5% lower for this one too. ICICI Prudential is losing ground after the earnings, about 6% lower for this one as well. And apart from this, there are a whole host of stocks, but let me get Gaurang in on the Tata Group stocks first. Gaurang, Tata Elxsi and Tata Consumer Products, weak earnings and the markets have punished both of these stocks. How would you really look at both these? Erstwhile performer, Tata Elxsi, recent past underperformer. It's given a record dividend of about 70 rupees, I believe. Tata Consumer Products, weak set of earnings, and of course the beginning of summers will be all keeping an eye out on the rural recovery. How would you really look at these two?
Tata Consumer was a marginal miss on one or two accounts. I mean, as far as my reading was, to be very honest with you.
Okay.
My sense is post election and the government being in place, rural and semi-rural India are going to be a point of or center of focus wherein uh, earnings capability in terms of better wages, etc., is going to improve with the kind of focus that the government wants to put in as far as the agri sector is concerned. For Tata LXI, I think this stock has been facing headwinds from last financial year second quarter. So this has been a long period of disappointment in terms of earnings. Not to forget, this stock was a flyer way back 21, 22 and the first half of 23. Then, of course, because of disappointment in numbers, we had to face this kind of situation. As a disclosure, we have a positive coverage on both Tata LXI as well as Tata Consumer. I would like to add one more name which is likely to unfold its earning and the new kid on the block, that is Tata Technologies. I think we should have a pleasant surprise over there.
Okay, we should have a pleasant surprise on this one, on Tata Technologies this time around in the earnings. So that's as far as the Tata Group is concerned. But at the cost of repeating myself, like I always say, there cannot be a day when Gaurang Shah joins in and Cochin Shipyard is not trading at record high levels. Again, a 5% uptick on this one, and you can see the stock soaring higher. And the entire space is also buzzing. Garden Reach Shipbuilders is again up in trade as well. How would you really look at the stock now? Every time we have to revisit the stock with you, Gaurang, to understand, how much more steam, and is it still, a value buy at these current levels?
Well, I honestly, Sakshi, I have not looked what is the current stock price for Cochin Shipyard, but let me say this, not looking at
1316.
Oh wow. So I think 1400 if you recollect, right? At 700, 750.
Yes.
I maintained 1400 and
Yes.
week before last, you, me and Sahel were in discussion and I think last week I was not there because it was a holiday. Even the week before that I had maintained that. So we are very close to just 100 rupees short of the target 1400. Shakshi, we have to understand one thing. This company, Cochin Shipyard, has got one of the best dry dock facilities down south, Cochin. It is also waiting to acquire a lot of orders with respect to indigenous aircraft carrier. Along with that, it is acquiring orders not only from the Indian defense but also from overseas market with respect to semi-submersible and submersible vessels, training vessels, and repairs of the same thing with the kind of huge dry dock facility that Cochin Shipyard has. So I think we'll wait for 1400 to be very honest. And if the earnings are something pleasant surprise, then we could watch it eventually see targets going upwards. But let's go with 1400 now and wait for earnings to unfold.
Okay. As Sakshi mentioned, how can we not discuss Cochin Shipyard and Aisha Motors when Gaurang is around? And one of the most... Sakshi, what was the phrase that Gaurang used for
Screaming
Cochin
buy.
Shipyard? It was, I think,
Screaming buy, he
800
said.
rupees if I'm not... Yes. Okay. So it's a screaming buy, ladies and gentlemen. But remember, a word of caution between the screaming buy at 800 and the price now is already somewhere in the vicinity of 1300. So a word of caution and a chart check on Cochin Shipyard from Our Lady Luck, Vaishali.
So yes, Cochin and Mazgaon both have been stellar performers. So I would say yes, keep a trailing stop loss and go with the ride because yes, we are seeing the stock going into the overbought zone. But I would say maintain either book partial profit or keep a trailing stop loss. But in this category, I don't know whether Gaurang would agree or no. There are a few stocks which still have underperformed, and one is Paras Defense. So technically, I do like Paras Defense also. We have recommended as thematic one of the picks in this, and I think it is showing signs of uh, improvement. So I think this stock still has a lot of upside because what we have seen is it's comparatively a new stock. Right from 1200 levels, the stock is showing a bounce back and reversal. So I would focus on this more as a good potential upside.
Okay, let's now just look at some prices that are moving sharply. Indian hotels a percent higher, 609.70 in futures. Remember, this is the earnings boy. Let's look at the broader markets now. It's almost 9:25. So the first 10 minutes of trade have lapsed, and the initial enthusiasm that is there sort of dies down. We track 19 indices for you, ladies and gentlemen. 18 are in the green. The small cap and the mid cap index are respectively 0.6 and 0.5% higher. The realty index leads the charge. Advanced decline improves in favor of bulls. Almost 1680 stocks in the green, just 263 in the red. Okay, now is the time to look at volume buzzers. We'll focus our attention on 361. This is 7% higher, and already about 1.5 times the 5-day average is traded. There's a very strong move coming in on GE shipping, 1080, about 6% higher. Vaishali, coming to you, any view that you may have on GE shipping?
Well, I'll take time, just a minute.
Vaishali,
I don't have this on my radar right now. Sorry.
Okay, we'll wait for Vaishali. Okay, not an issue. Let's look at what else is at record highs. Wow, now this is a huge list. About 18 stocks in the NSE 500, ladies and gentlemen, are at record highs. Let me share some names that are there. There is Aisha Motors and Cochin Shipyard. Both of them are saluting Gaurang. Record highs for you, ladies and gentlemen. You have a stock in the entire defense space. Hindustan Aeronautics is at a record high. You have Ambuja Cement, 0.5% higher, 639 at a record peak, and of course Maruti 13,057, 0.5% higher. Would you want to reevaluate Maruti at current levels, Vaishali?
Yes, so I would say 13,200 should be the near-term support, and 13,500 comes to be the next support. So yes, the view stands bullish.
Okay. Right. Let's again look at some of the other pockets that are buzzing. Fertilizer space seems to be in the thick of action again, Vaishali. So stocks like GSFC, Chambal Fertilizers, Madras Fertilizers, GNFC, RCF, Fact, the entire space is buzzing. 2.5%, 3.5% uptake for all of these in that range or so. How are you looking at this space, and is this the right time to enter into some of this momentum?
I would say so. Actually, there are quite a few stocks, because let's start with GNFC. GNFC also chartically looking very positive. And well, now I would say that 680 acts as a very good support, and one should continue buying this for higher targets. Right now we are in the 700 category. I think this can go towards 750, 800 levels also. And the other one is GSFC, that also we have recommended to our clients. The next positional target that we would be looking at is 280 from here on. So yes, they're all getting similar patterns, GSFC, GNFC. I do like these two stocks.
Okay. Gaurang, the other favorite space that we always discuss with you, the defense space, that's again buzzing with HAL now ticking higher, 1.4% up right now. You've constantly maintained that in the long term, defense stocks is a very long term story, and HAL, BL, those kind of stocks is something that you've always talked about positively. Even at the current levels, would you say that the time is right for somebody who has a long term view to enter into some of these performers?
So to answer your question in a different angle or a perspective, don't waste your time. Get invested. Take the plunge. You will be busy trying to find the right time and the right price, and you will be wasting all that energy and efficiency by not investing into these stocks. So whether it is HAL, whether it is Cochin Shipyard, whether it is Mazgaon Dock, whether it is Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, whether it is beg your pardon, whether it is the Larsen and Toubro, whether it is Bharat Forge, whether it is Paras Defense, as a good friend Vaishali has spoken about. These are the BEL, BHEL. We discussed these stocks, I think, about 3 months back. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sakshi. So
Yes.
these are growth opportunities for the next 5 years, 10 years. Don't look at these sector and these companies like the next 5 months. Look at it as next 5 to 10 years, and you will be laughing your way to the bank.
All right, that's the word coming in. We'll be laughing our way to the bank, and don't waste any time. There cannot be a more clearer instruction from Gaurang at this point in time when we talk about such defense moves and such strong moves being seen over here. This is the phrase that I will remember next after the screaming buy, and every time we discuss the defense space, we will be talking about this too. I promise. So that space, of course, will be in the thick of action. Let me again look at some of the other buzzers. Okay, the metal space is again back in action. So you have stocks like NMDC, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, SAIL, all of them moving higher. At this point in time, Vaishali, anything that looks positive to you?
Actually, full pack. JSW Steel has yet to go higher. Even SAIL, I mean, which we have spoken about it for many times. And I think if you see the weekly chart, the monthly chart, we saw the breakout at 133 on the monthly chart. So having patience, I think this stock is ready for a target of 180, 200 to start with.
Okay, what we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a detour into the Nifty mid-cap index on the FNO side. Now, here are some interesting data for you. About 51 plus 10, 61 stocks are showing a build-up of long positions in the Nifty 100 group, led by Pidilite and Vedant, as also Jindal Steel and Power, now at 924. How many are showing short covering? Well, not many. And there are about 16 stocks that are showing a build-up of short positions. So the market overwhelmingly in favor of the long side. Let's look at Vedant. This is something that's buzzing very, very strongly, 385. Normally, I try my best to avoid this stock, but it's now down 3 days in a row and now sipping up. Vaishali, would you stick your neck out on Vedant, 384?
Yes, I think again a buying opportunity, keeping 365 as stop loss. This stock we are looking at now, the way the trend is setting up, I think it's ready for a target of 420, 430. That would be the next target. So yes, 365 as stop loss and continue holding or buy.
Okay. Fertilizer pack, as Vaishali had pointed out, is doing pretty well. I have Chambal fertilizers at 396.80, which is about 4% higher. And we have Fact, this is the one with the lowest floating stock, 701 for you. That's also ticking in that space. In the agrochemical space, you have UPL, one of the biggest underperformers on the Nifty, erstwhile Nifty, 501.55, a percent higher. What else is moving? It's the entire chemical space. SRF is now at 26.43, a strong move coming in here. Indian hotels, this is something that needs to be watched ahead of earnings. Let's do a chart check on here. 614. It seems that there is a build-up that's happening ahead of its earnings. Your view, Vaishali, on one of the finest balance sheets in the Indian hotel industry from Indian hotels. What are the charts telling you?
I think, well, it's quite a rally. Hard to tell whether good to buy right now, but I think, yes, take a calculated risk of 580 as stop loss and go for it, because I think the way we are seeing the chartical formation, it's ready for a new round of momentum. And 622 is the near-term hurdle. If it moves past that, 650 will be the next target.
Okay. Gaurang, very curious to ask you what is your view on the entire pharma space, especially stocks like Biocon that have been continuously showing us some ticks on the higher side. Lupin, of course, is on the move because of the kind of positive reports it's got from US FDA after inspection. But Biocon particularly, there were reports about some weeks back that probably the company is aspiring to get the license for weight loss drug, which has actually made headlines across the globe of late. So some sort of a foray into that space. How would that mean? What would that mean for Biocon?
So I would like to see some performance come through, and this is one stock. Sadly, Sakshi has been a terrible performer, even when the
Correct.
golden time existed for Indian pharma, the universe, with respect to the pandemic and the unwanted gift from Wuhan virus, China. So even now it is tried to struggle. We have coverage on Biocon as a disclosure, and they have trying to come out with new launches, but there were certain headwinds over there also. Though there was huge amount invested in R&D to enable those new launches. So there is opportunity undeniably, but you'll need a lot more patience in this particular stock compared to the other pharma names.
Okay. Vaishali, how do you really look at this space in the technical charts as far as some of these names are concerned, and anything that looks positive to you?
You're talking about the pharma pack on the whole, right?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
very few stocks, very few stocks. I still do like Cipla. As you pointed out, Biocon, it's been quite a laggard, but well, it is gradually elevating. So I think 292 to 300 should be the target resistance. If we see Biocon moving above 300 levels, then I think it gives a confirmation to go higher towards 380 and so on. But yes, for the moment, I do like Divi's and I like Cipla. So Divi's also gradually we are seeing that the stock has really bottomed out and getting into a trend. So right now the near term support acts at 3600, and once we see clarity of the stock going above 3800, this is ready for a target of 4000. So Divi's is one, and Cipla is another stock to our liking. Well, that also the trend is pretty much fine, and after a brief retracement, so I think the support lies at 1340. So I think one can see for a bounce back up to 1420 for 1430. But I think more so in the cash category, have a look at Wokat, a very strong uptrend. In spite of all the choppiness that we are witnessing in the market, it is still holding on well. The long-term trend is so intact. I think with 550 as stop loss, this can do 600, 630 to start with.
Okay, that's the view coming in on the charts that right there in front of you. Vaishali, we are on T-1 as far as the monthly expiry of the Nifty is concerned. Within the FNO space, where do you see the strongest rollovers on the positive side, maybe two stock futures, and maybe a negative stock future where rollovers are strong but the chart is weak?
So, well, right now I'm seeing cement, Ambuja cement, and also they, I think, should do well. Along with that, even Autopack looks pretty good. So, I think Maruti should see good rollover again. And, well, I think metals also should do well. And, well, not to miss out the capital stocks. You look at Siemens, you look at ABB, they are all showing still a lot of strength. So, I think these are the stocks that one should focus on.
Okay, getting in Gaurang into the conversation. Gaurang, just a week ago, the Adani Group invested in Ambuja Cement in terms of increasing their stake, and from then on, the stock is at a record high. Since you track the cement space so well, and we remember another stock from you, which is JK Lakshmi Cement. Your view on Ambuja and any other thing that catches your fancy within the cement space?
Honestly, I mean, cement as a sector has been on our radar for a pretty long period of time. And there is going to be headwinds in terms of entry level barriers for newer capacities to come up because of the environment play, etc., etc. there will be acquisitions by some large and mid players onto lesser known small cap, micro cap cement manufacturing capabilities and capacities. Ambuja, Grasim, ACC, Ramco Cement, JK Lakshmi Cement, Birla Corp, India Cement, uh, Dalmia Bharat. These are some of the names that we are extremely positive about.
Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind. At the moment, I think it's the metal space that's also in the limelight. We've discussed Vedant, National Aluminium, fresh record high 185. It's consolidating there. Hind Copper, this is a decadal high 377 for you. Steel Authority moving a percent higher. In terms of a longer term bet on the metal space and Gaurang, what would be your top call? A medium term bet, maybe 3 years from now.
Uh, Well, with respect to metals, let me say this before I give that investment idea that you need to have longish time frame given the kind of uh, headwinds that this sector has to face with respect of global news flow. Other than that, I think extremely excited about the play. And as we talk about Bharat Nirman and private capex and real estate sector doing well, these two products are going to get consumed. So if I have to name one particular name from the metal universe, I think I'll go with GSPL. There are four names, of course, other than that. But I guess GSPL will do relatively better. I'm not saying that the others will not, but this will do relatively better.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the first half an hour so far. The high of the index at the moment is somewhere in the vicinity of 22,432 and the low is 22,400. So it's a narrow band. Any move sustained which is above 22,430 on the long side will then make sense, but it doesn't seem to be happening. What is moving is the fertilizer space that we've discussed. Voltas is rocking it 1.3% higher, 1412, and of course you have stocks like Chennai Petro 953, MRPL 231 also doing pretty well. There doesn't seem to be some activity as far as prices are concerned on the slightly higher side. Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers have started to move 148.55. Remember, fertilizer was one space that Vaishali had highlighted. Let's look at maybe buyers only on the Nifty. This should be a space which should attract interest. None of these names I want to take on air, so we'll avoid them completely. Maybe Birla Money 5% higher, 134.65. We'll just show it on the screen for you. Nothing much happening in the market, almost flat trade there. Vaishali, would you want to comment on Ambuja Cement? Fresh record high here.
Yes, Ambuja has been one of my favorite stocks. I mean, it has shown so much of clarity as far as the chartical move is concerned. So yes, I think if we continue, this rally continues, and if we sustain above these new highs, this stock is ready for a projected target of 720.
Okay, so that's as far as the cement space and Ambuja Cement's view on that one is concerned. Gaurang, I wanted to also take your view on Zomato. We've talked about this stock before, but after the recent uptick as far as the platform fee is concerned to 5 rupees again, even though the stock has been consolidating now at around 184 odd levels, where do you see the stock headed? The company is constantly focusing on ways to increase realizations, margins, add on to profitability. How do you really look at some of these moves that have been taken by the management?
So excited about the price rise because of the coverage. Not excited as a client, to be very honest, because I have to shell out more. You and me have to shell out more, being an honest opinion. We normally only focus about the food delivery platform, but the home provisioning platform, that's Blinkit. Not only do we have to pay the platform fee, but also the delivery charge. So that's
Yeah.
going to be a major contributor, Sakshi, to the earnings of Zomato. Having said that, the stock has rallied. Wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of cool off the way we are witnessing right now. But eventually, I think you can see levels of 200 plus. But we need to be a little bit patient with that and let earnings improve from both food as well as provisioning delivery platform.
Okay, and also, and the same breath, since we are talking about these new age tech firms, one of the ones that were disappointing, Mama Earth's Honasa Consumer, that shot up in trade yesterday, and it's coming back in action. Do you have you changed your view around it? Do you see it more favorably now? Are things turning for the better for the company at all?
Let me say 2 points very important. When it came to valuation, individually, personally, my opinion was it is way too expensive. And that was the fact because when the IPO hit the floor, a lot of people did mention about the valuation being on the richer side. In terms of coverage for the IPO, we had given a subscribe note, keeping in mind that despite of being rich valuation, the company has the potential to deliver on longer term basis as far as their product and offering is concerned. Uh, Stock post listing has not done much. That is purely because of the rich valuations, actually. Whether the situation is likely to improve, well, I think future earnings will definitely tell us that growth story. But it will not happen in 2, 3 quarters, 4 quarters. Will possibly take 1.5 year or maybe about 6 odd quarters for the transformation to reflect on the share price.
Okay, got that. Vaishali, anything that looks attractive to you from the new age tech space? Zomato, Honasa, we've discussed. Maybe you could add BTM, PB FinTech, Cast24. Anything that comes to your mind? Delivery.
So I would say yes, Zomato. I continue to feel that it is going to show a lot of strength because right now also it has just seen a bit of consolidation. RSI is again at 60 levels. So I think this makes a good buying opportunity at around 180 levels because if this trend has to continue, I think this is ready for a target of 200 to 20. In fact, Honasa, I mean, technically we have been tracking this since yesterday. It has shown signs of improvement. So if we sustain above 400, the stock can move towards 500. So yes, these two stocks. In fact, even Nika has been showing a bit of signs of reversal. So this is another stock that would be a convincing buy if the stock moves above 185, 190 levels.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first half an hour of trade has happened and there seems to be a mild breakout happening on both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Remember 22,400 was a major resistance before markets opened. You had a very strong call concentration to the tune of about 69,000 fresh options being added there. That's been broken. So 22,400 maybe on the next week. Let me just do this option check as far as the next week is concerned. The next weekly expiry will be on 2nd of May. I am looking at 22,400 call, which is at about 184 rupees. Vaishali, coming to you, the 22,400 Nifty call expiring on May 2nd at the moment is at about 182 rupees. Would you stick your neck out, give a view?
I would wait for this Nifty on spot basis to cross 22,440.
Okay, so 440 will be the trigger for you. Ladies and gentlemen, do keep an eye out on this option trade. We are looking at Nifty 22,400 call, which is expiring in the next week at 2nd of May. Similarly, there is a fairly decent uptick that you're seeing on Bank Nifty. Remember, this is at 48,132, 160 points higher. The maximum call concentration on the Bank Nifty, which was acting as a major resistance, was at 48,100. Let us see how these moves are over the next 1.5 hours. Should the Nifty sustain above 22,440 according to Vaishali, then the call that we've just discussed makes sense. All sorts of brown good makers, Havells days high 1571, 1.35% higher. Voltas has changed a digit. I see Voltas at 1.2% higher, 14.11, and of course similar moves would also be coming in at Blue Star. Just 10 minutes of show time left. Hotels are moving up in sync with Indian hotels. EIH hotels is 760 rupees at day's high. Smart moves coming in ahead of earnings from Indian hotels. What else is moving? Indus Stars, a bit of a profit booking happening on this counter, 355.20. And another major hotel chain, which is Indraprasth Medical. Remember, a very well-known fund house which is known for its aggressive momentum plays, had recently taken up a stake on Indraprasth Medical, 5 lakh shares. The counter is now at 269, slipping to day's low, but this is concentrating near its record high. ICICI Bank is taking it away, 1095 for the price that is there on the screen. Remember, we have earnings of Axis Bank today. Okay, nothing much happening on ICICI Bank. We'll just keep quiet about it. Sakshi, what are you observing?
There's a move coming in on Canfin Homes, Vaishali. Would you look at it from the F&O space? There is some tick on this one. Do you see this momentum which can be chased here?
I would think so, because if the stock has to show strength, it's in the process of making higher bottom formation. So once the stock moves past 785, that could be the near-term hurdle. Once it moves past 785, I think there's all the scope of it going towards 820, 850, so on. So yes, I do like this stock right now. Right now, for just a small trading strategy, up to 785, we may have a relook once it sustains above.
Okay. And the entire cement pack is on the move. So India Cements is up 2.5% in the F&O space. We do have ACC that's up 2.5%. We have Dalmia Bharat that's up 2% as well. India Cements, I've already mentioned, it's up and about. Ultratech Cement from the Nifty movers is up by 1% as well. Ambuja Cement, you already pointed out, Vaishali, as your top pick from this space. Anything else from Ambuja that you feel one should be looking at this current level in this move?
Why not look at Grasim? I think Grasim also has got cement, right?
Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
would say yes. So I think, yes, Grasim has shown a lot of strength, and that is the stock that would continue to do well.
Okay, that's another stock that will continue to do well. Vaishali, the other space, let's talk about a big underperforming space, and that's the FMCG space. Nestle is coming back in flavor, 1% higher. There are positive news reports on this one with target prices that have been raised to 2,900 for the long term. We did see some moves coming in on even Britannia and ITC yesterday. This entire space is looking to grab some opportunity to come back in flavor, but anything specific, sustainable that you spot that one should be looking at?
So overall, a full FMCG counter, I mean, it has been underperformer, and it has at crucial support levels. So I would now look at HUL also, because HUL has done quite a bit of correction. And technically, right now, it's showing signs of bounce back from the oversold zone. So yes, HUL can be accumulated. One can start accumulating, keeping 2,100, 2050 maximum as the stop loss, and accumulate this, because once we see a trend setting in, this can go towards 2,600 and so on. So yes, HUL would be the stock to start with.
Okay, HUL would be the stock to start off with. Let's again look at some of the other movers in the Nifty 500 basket, the broadest market, if we can spot any names right there. Similar names were coming in on the Nifty, so I just thought that we can look at some other spotting of some stocks. MIC Electronics, that's up and about 6% higher in trade right now. Then you also have Tanla Platforms and Data Patterns. Science DLM we've already discussed. These are the kind of stocks that are buzzing. Would you have any view on these particular stocks, Data Patterns and Tanla Platforms, MIC Electronics, these kind of movers, Vaishali?
Yes, so data pattern is the stock that we have been recommending our clients since quite a while. And I think the stock is in a very strong trend. One should start buying at every dip. Right now, I think it's run up quite a bit. So continue to those who are holding this stock, one should continue holding this because it's already on the verge of a breakout or rather high. Yes, so 3080 was the breakout level and it is above that. So I think 3200, 3300 would be the next level that we would be looking at. The other one we spoke about is Tanla. So Tanla is getting into a trend. So yes, I think Tanla should be considered for a buy because uh, in the process of making inverted head and shoulder, and right now 200-day moving average is the resistance. So once we see the stock above 1030, 1040, I think it's ready for 1200. So Tanla looks quite promising from here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have just 4 minutes to wrap the proceedings. Let's end it on a good note. So there has been a mild breakout on the Nifty. I'll keep an eye out on 22,400 Nifty call expiring on May 2nd, 185, 186 rupees. One thing I'd like to mention why this is something that you should be looking at. The all-time high for this call was 604 rupees and at the moment at 160, 184. Let's see whether that breakout above 22,440 happens or not. But at the moment things are looking fairly okay as far as the Nifty is concerned, 64 points higher. Let's look at stocks that are helping the Nifty move higher. They are HDFC Bank contributing 9 points to Nifty 67 point gain. It's banks all the way. Axis Bank contributes 8 points and ICICI Bank is also bringing in 6. Reliance is in the green, Cipla is in the green. What's pulling the Nifty lower? There's just two stocks, Tata Consumers and Infosys is just contributing 2 points on the negative side. So overall trend is on the long side, therefore 22,400 call makes imminent sense. Now stocks which are at record high within the Nifty, Maruti, Eicher Motors, Grasim and Bharti Airtel. Out of these four, two are related to Telecom. Bharti is obviously obvious and Grasim. Grasim is the holding company of Vodafone Idea. Grasim owns 6.6% stake and given the decent response that the FPO got, it's a positive rub-off that's coming in on Grasim. In terms of volume buzzers within the Nifty, Tata Consumer on the downside, 5% lower, 1117, 21 lakh shares have been traded, which is 115% of 5-day average, and we have just half an hour of trade with us. Cipla is the green, 2.5% higher, Sun Pharma. So it's a defensive market which is also on the positive side as far as the main indices are concerned. Within the NSE 500, the top gainer, ladies and gentlemen, is how should I say, the top gainer on NSE 500 is okay, these are the names that I don't want to mention except for 361 Wealth Management, 7% higher, H20, Jindal Saw 7% higher, 531. Sakshi, what else catches your fancy?
Not much moving, Shail. It's the same kind of counters, but insurance space we haven't discussed, so maybe we can take one last view on this space from Vaishali. LIC is up. We did see bad results from ICICI Pru, so that is down by about 6%. Anything that catches your attention, Vaishali, in the insurance basket?
Not for now.
All right, not for now. We'll wrap it up at that, viewers. Not much happening at this stage, but we'll wait for the markets to spring back towards the closing of the session. And Vaishali, many thanks for being with us on this edition and sharing such wonderful ideas with all our viewers. It's the banking space that's coming back, so we could be probably seeing some bit of action towards the end of the session on this one. About 0.4% higher on the Nifty Bank right now, 0.3% move on the Nifty, so it's back above 22,400 mark as well. The top movers on the Nifty remain Cipla, JSW Steel, Tata Steel, Nestle, Hindalco, Eicher Motors and Divi's Laboratories. Most of these stocks we've actually discussed on the show as well. From the F&O space, it's the fertilizer space, the cement pack that continues to buzz. Chambal Fertilizers, you have Biocon, you have Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers, you have Dalmia Bharat, Cipla, you have Jindal Steel and Power. You do have, again, this stock was discussed by Gaurang as well as one of his picks from the metal pack. ACC, Goodrich Consumer Products, those are some of movers as far as the F&O action is concerned. But we'll wrap it up at that. Many thanks viewers for tuning in. With that, both Shail and I goodbye to you at this point in time. But do stay tuned on to Business Today as we will continue to track all the market moves for you throughout the trading session. Interesting conversations will keep coming in from the earnings factor as well. And don't forget to tune in at 12 p.m. when we do take your stock related queries on daily calls. Thanks a lot for tuning in for now.